Good morning. Good morning and welcome everyone to Two Doctors and a Twin. Oh, Dr. Jamie, I am so excited about this opportunity for us to do this project together. It is just awesome. And we have so much to talk about. And thank those who are out there that joined us today for Two Doctors and a Twist. We had over 200 people that had RSVP to come to the event today. So we are going to get started. All right. And if you have questions, please post them in the chat and we will answer those questions as we come to them. Okay, so again, welcome. We're so glad you're here today with us. And we're looking forward to what personal brand looks like in the age of AI. And we'll keep this interactive. So drop your question again in the chat and we'll get to them soon. So, Dr. Jamie Chesler is our expert in personal brand and executive presence. And I'm Dr. Marilyn Carroll, here to talk to you about AI strategy and leadership and how tech is really reshaping leaders and how they show up. So today, we're building a bridge between brand and AI because you can't have one without the other in today's world. So we won't hold much longer. Dr. Jamie is going to get us started. Dr. Jamie is, like I said, she's our personal brand expert. She teaches um, personal brand, and she has over, I think you have over what, 1,400 students this coming up quarter?
Yes, unbelievable. Yes, over
Yes.
over 1,400 for the fall term. Yes.
Okay. So, Dr. Jamie, I'm going to ask you our first
Oh,
question.
okay.
All right. How is personal brand shaping or
Mm.
shifting in a digital first world? How do you think that's coming?
Yeah, yeah, and that's a very good question. I mean, really, you think about it, what does our brand even mean in 2025? And think about it even going into the future, especially where we know AI is now exploded. It's absolutely everywhere. So, but here's the truth of it, Marilyn. Personal brand, it's always been about our reputation, right?
Mhm.
It's how people experience us. It's what they remember about us. It's that factor that helps to build that trust. But now that AI can do so much of what we call as kind of the output work, such as we know it writes blogs, it drafts presentations for us. Did you know that? And even mimics our tone to some degree. Our personal brand has also shifted because it's less about what we produce, you know, and more about how we show up as people, as a person.
Well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What do
Yeah,
you mean is how we show up as a person?
because here's the thing that we all know. When I say show up as a person, I'm talking about and the difference between how AI is changing the landscape of how we feel about our own
Hmm.
brand. Okay, AI generates content, but it can't live your story for you. It can't replicate how you think about things, right? You have your own thoughts. It can't display empathy.
Yes.
If you have a sense of humor, it doesn't share your sense of humor or your values. Those are the pieces of your personal brand that really kind of cut through all that noise out there. And believe me, we know there's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah,
So,
I like that. I like that because I don't I so love your comments there because personal brand can't be you. I mean the AI can't be you, but AI is an enhancer to you.
and exactly. So let me give you an example. I like to share stories. Stories connect us, right?
Hmm.
Stories help us become real, right? Because got to keep that human factor. Years ago, when I think back on it, I was teaching business students because I also teach business management courses. While I was consulting with or different organizations on human resource strategies, that was my business, HRRX Solutions. I had a consulting business in HR. But one semester, one of my students completely overwhelmed. I mean, we know we teach to these students, right? They work full-time jobs, sometimes more than one job. They're raising kids, they're caring for their parents. They're just trying to go back and finish their education, get that degree.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, I've been there. Yeah. When I went back to school as an adult, I was working in hospitality. Yeah. Late nights as a server and a bartender. And later, I managed an office for a small mom and pop business. And I knew exactly what it felt like. Just like our students, we're juggling work, we're juggling family and school. Sometimes, and we know this, we're barely hanging on, just
Yeah.
trying to keep things together. So instead of giving my students this textbook perfect lecture on being resilient, I shared my own story. I told my students the reality of it, the long nights that I came home, midnight and later sometimes, sat down to write a paper and wondered, is this all this work worth it? I told them about the mistakes that I made and the lessons that I carried forward. And you know what? That story stuck with them far more than any type of framework or model I could have shared with my students. Why? Because it was me. It was my real lived experience. It was something that AI could never generate because it came from my own experiences. And that's how personal brand is evolving right now. It's not about flooding people with a lot of content that we know that AI can generate for us. It's about being remembered for how we make others feel, for the lessons that we've lived that we share. And that is where our credibility comes. It comes from our stories, it comes from our experiences.
Yes. I like that because I do think that it does come from our stories and experiences and sharing with people, which is something we've gotten away from
Yeah.
um, even before we ever thought about AI. We had started just kind of dissecting ourselves away from what is real, and that is family and friendships and community.
The connection that people have. So, honestly, just to wrap that piece up, if you're thinking about your personal brand this year going forward, here's what I want to share with you.
Okay.
Don't try to outproduce AI. You can't do it, but you can think of it as a tool to kind of make your work easier. But
Hmm.
let your brand showcase what's unique about you. Bring your authenticity. Be genuine. Share your values. Show your process, not just the polished end result, because we all want to be perfect. We want our presentations to be perfect. We want our work to show, our credibility. But tell the story behind the numbers. Lean into the parts of you that are irreplaceable.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, my next question is, let's
Oh
see,
goodness, you have more questions.
girl, I got them. I
Yes,
got them coming
yes, I
today.
know you do. Oh my goodness.
Executive presence. Let's dive into that because
We're
we
gonna dive
both
in. All right.
have done executive coaching. I still do executive coaching.
Mhm.
What do leaders need to do differently for executive presence, even if you're not a executive or you're just a person in the groove of working or living and being part of community and groups and things of that nature? What is executive presence in this digital age?
And I like that you started with that. That you may not necessarily be in a leadership position, but you are involved in your community, you're doing things because we all have leadership skills, okay, that we share, whether we're in a formal position or not. Okay. So great question. Perfect for our discussion today. But what I've learned from teaching executive presence to MBA students, I teach business communications and executive presence with the Jack Welch Management Institute, is that executive presence, it's really, and listening to students share what they think executive presence is, it's really one of the most misunderstood topics in leadership. Okay.
Hmm.
People often call it the it factor. We've heard that. Oh, that person's got it. Well, what is it? What is that? Everybody has a different perception of what it is. It's a quality that makes others stop, makes them want to listen to you. It's the thing that helps to build trust. But here's the truth of it. Okay. It's not about having a fancy title or a big corner office, which I've never had, and I've held leadership positions. So, or a perfect PowerPoint slide that you're going through. It isn't about that. Executive presence is how you carry yourself, how you communicate uniquely, authentically, and how you, through that connection, that trust that you've built, how you're able to influence people when it matters the most. And here's the connection to personal brand, because they do tie together. Your personal brand is what you want to be known for. And we've heard that before, right?
Mhm.
So it's our values, it's our strength, it is our reputation, how other people perceive us out there in the world when we aren't in the room. Okay. It's how those qualities show up in a given moment. So I like to share stories. I hope you don't mind, because I think it
Oh,
brings
please,
relevance to
please
it.
go ahead.
So
Yes, brings it home.
it does. It helps to create that connection and it feels real. And folks, that's what branding is about. So early in my HR career at a fast-paced nonprofit organization in Florida, there was a major conflict between a couple departments. Can happen, especially when it comes to budgets and allocation of funds. So emotions were high, tensions were obvious. I mean, it's like, oh my goodness, are we going to get through this meeting? Are we going to come make any decisions here? But my personal brand at the time in my career was more, I was more centered, and I realized that this was a strength that I had, was being a calm problem solver. Now, I could have just said, hey, here are the numbers, and and handed it to them and then walked away. But instead, I took a different turn with it. I leaned into what I bring as executive presence. I facilitated a conversation. I said, hey, let's talk about these numbers. Let's talk about the value and what we're doing with this. I asked questions to understand each side, and I kept the focus on what our shared values were, what our goals were, rather than individual frustrations. And you know what? By the end of that meeting, the departments weren't just settling for the sake of settling. They were now collaborating on a solution that we had to co-create together through that collaboration, through that teamwork, through those shared goals. So
Yeah. So each of these, you're telling a story, you're sharing that networking. So in the digital room, though, when you walk into a digital room, so are you saying we need to share stories in these personal stories in our digital room?
absolutely. You
Okay.
have to bring it to life. You just can't put content out there without sharing who you are. And that's what I'm trying to help you differentiate for 2025 and going forward when we are dealing with the explosion of AI. We're all just learning this tool. And it's a great, and that's it. That's the key. It is a tool. But what we have to remember to do is to bring our unique value, our human side to it, because I can't take that away, right? So your
I
brand is
like
the
it.
foundation, right?
Yeah, and if I take that a little bit further, what I heard you say, executive presence isn't just about how you speak or dress. It's
Mm-mm.
about how you make others feel in a hybrid environment that we're in today, where
Yes,
everybody's language and tone travel through the screens or through content,
exactly.
through presence. You're ever present in
Yes.
everything you do. Your executive presence is there. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, especially think about it now. We are in a lot of virtual places. Okay, we're in a virtual place right now. And a lot of folks are working remotely, or
Mm,
they work with teams in other countries, other states, other locations. The opportunity for you to display your executive presence is through those virtual little screens that we get to see each other. Show up, turn your webcam on, pay attention to what's happening. Share your thoughts, your perspective. Okay. You have to be able to do that to illustrate that you have that leadership ability. And you
Mm.
do that through the connections that you have, through the stories you share, through your executive presence.
Oh, wow. Mm. Okay, so that takes us to a little bit of AI and strategy. So, what do you want to know?
Okay, so I get to ask questions of Dr. Marilyn now. Yeah, I've been waiting for this. So, okay, we're going to talk about AI strategy and leadership. So, Marilyn, how is AI now reshaping the way that we present ourselves and the way that we build trust out there? Because in this virtual world, how do we do that?
That's an excellent question. And you and I both met by teaching we teach at the same university, Strayer University. And I teach a business course, and we both have this quarter, I had about 1,400 students, and
Yeah.
you're moving into that. Um, and I find it fascinating. To teach and to deliver to students around this whole realm of AI and strategy and who you are, and then they get to go to you for personal brand, and you bringing that all together. We're bringing that all together for them. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome because, and along with some other things, but in going through business in the different levels of business that I'm teaching them, they come in and I'm taking them through accounting, marketing, finance, operations management, all of these things. And all along, my role is also to incorporate how strategy and AI works with that and to help them kind of come to their S curve process from the start of the course to the end of the course. And so even when I'm working with executives as well, I'm getting them to their S curve as well. Sort of like that whole thing I talk about in the article Breaking Building and Blessing. But AI isn't replacing leaders. Stop that mess. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's not going to replace you. It's enhancing you, just what we said earlier. It's multiplying your reach. Because now, with different tools and things we see from AI, the executive reach can go farther. Instead of just talking to your downline, you can reach all lines in your organization and be ever present without having to step in, if you're a global organization, without having to step in on every footprint at the same time. Physically, you can step there from a technological perspective in doing so. And I give you an example. I run my own company just like you do as well, Jamie. In addition to what we do, we couldn't do that if it wasn't for technology, if it
Exactly
wasn't for
right.
AI. We
It's
utilize,
raising the bar.
yeah,
AI. It is.
yeah, and we just we couldn't do what we do without those assistants. I remember before I would have 40, 50 people working with me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and all doing different things. But my time as a leader was spent communicating to all those groups.
That's exactly the
Now,
key.
yeah, now I can use AI to build a platform that gives information to each of these groups, no matter where they are, and it helps them to keep on my mission and my vision to bring things together so
Yep.
that everything that's produced is produced based on the vision and the mission of the organization and not what 15 people heard differently, or in my case 40 at the time heard differently. We can stay on task with it. So
Yep.
I really think it keeps the groups intentional, and it puts AI as an amplifier for whatever we're doing and not replacing us as the leader. So and another example I was working with an executive, and they were giving me a lot of information about their company and things of that nature. And I said, well, what does this mean for you? And before, as a researcher, I would have to go back,
Yeah.
research the company in
Yeah.
depth. I mean, really. And I still do research, but it would take me maybe a month to research the company based on all the information. But with Google and everything else, because Google is another form of AI, it's just never said, we just never said it. But I have to go to Google Scholar or the research library at the school or something of that nature. And now I can pull all of these resources together, utilizing a research tool that I may get from AI and really find out about a company information that the executive don't it really wouldn't have time to explain to me.
Right.
And so when I say amplifies the leader's presence, that's what I mean. We can give leaders now tools that help them to amplify what they're doing instead of having to really search for it. And this last case I'll give you is, and I know we're on time
Right.
here, but
I
I
love your stories though. That's what helps to make it your human fingerprint on your work is through the stories that you're sharing.
yes, yes. So for me, um, um, what is happening is there's a lot from a leader who goes into a new company and they just don't know what to do, or a manager, or you as an individual out of college, and you're going to this new area company and you don't know what to say, what to do, what's happening.
Mhm.
AI can help you with that.
Right.
Whereas before, we'd had to go through a lot of different modes to come to a conclusion. So AI kind of meets us at our brand as well as our leadership philosophy.
So what I'm hearing you say is don't shy away from AI, but use it strategically. Make sure that
Exactly.
you bring your voice, your uniqueness to it though, because that's what good branding is about. That's good leadership. I love that, Marilyn.
Yeah. I think that AI helps us to enhance or multiply, uh, magnify
I
our
like magnify.
our
I
brand.
love that. That's
Yeah,
good.
magnify our brand
Yeah.
even more so now.
Yeah.
It's it really brings the two together. And I don't think we could have done this separately. I love that we were mixed together for a reason. I love we did a podcast episode on our career site at the school, and that's how we connected. And I was like, that is one woman I want to connect and stay connected with
Oh, I remember
because
that. That's over 2 years
yeah,
ago, Marilyn.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that.
See, but even at that particular point in time when AI was just coming out,
Mhm.
you can pull some things. I went on LinkedIn, I found you on LinkedIn, and I said, "Oh wow, this
I
is
did the same.
yeah, this is the one I want to stay connected to." And then lo and behold, we ended up getting these new assignments that we had to do, not knowing, oh, okay, how are we going to do this? We've been executives for so long. How are we going to do this particular scenario?
Yeah,
And it's helped us. I think it's like a renewal process.
it is. It is. And so in my mind, AI is just reshaping, leadership. It's reshaping our brand, all
Hmm.
in a good way, as long as we remain and keep that human perspective.
Yeah,
We have
I,
to be able to do that.
I totally agree,
That's our
Jan.
differentiator right there.
Mhm. Yes, yes, absolutely. And
You got, go
if
ahead.
you only have AI without brand, it's noise.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really noise. And if you only have brand without AI, you risk invisibility.
Especially in today's time. Do you have time for just one more question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So because we've been discussing leadership and strategy and personal branding and executive presence, we're at an intersection between branding and what AI can do for us as a tool. In your thoughts, your experience, and how you communicate in your business with your students, with your clients, where does authenticity, our uniqueness, makes us us, meet technology, AI?
Excellent question.
Ah,
Um, I think our authenticity, it allows, for me, it has allowed me to be more me, more Marilyn. And I think now with what I write, what I produce, people see me more than they saw just the title before. They see the real Marilyn. That girl that is says some things that like, oh, is she crazy?
I'm sure they say the same about me, but it is me. So
But that fun person, because I'm more relaxed. I have already done what I needed to do to enter the room, in whatever room that may be, whether it's
right,
a classroom, whether it's a business, whether it's a community event, whatever the case may be. I've done the research already and understanding what brand is, and I'm bringing my authentic self because nobody's going to buy a fake. They're going to buy the real person.
exactly. So the sweet spot is using AI as a supporting tool, not a
Yes.
replacement.
Not a replacement. You
I love
have to
that.
use it as a supporting tool because if you don't, if you go out there and you go into Gemini or Chat or Copilot and you just tell it to produce something, it doesn't know you. It's
It
just like
doesn't.
people. It's like a human. We don't know you. So we're going to produce whatever it is that's general. And that general information just keeps coming because it doesn't know you. You haven't allowed for it to get to know you. And
Exactly.
you have to be aware because there are risks involved, and we'll talk about that on another podcast. But there are risks, but at the same time, you start with a story that you have when using
Yes.
AI, and
The
then
story. Yes.
you build from there when doing it. So you got to start. You got to have some vision and thought process in in your mindset. And when people say, "I'm going to add this," I know we didn't say we talk about it, but people may say AI is not. We don't need degrees in education. That's a fallacy
No,
statement
that is. It
because
is.
I think you need education even more so now in order to communicate with AI.
And I think the more, because I can remember, and I'm going to date myself back in the time period when the World Wide Web out there, we were all concerned about that. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen with that? AI, once you make the effort to learn and understand the value that it can offer you, such as efficiency, scale, and polish with the work you do
Mhm.
to make you better, use it as kind of like my sidebar assistant, right? Yeah, it can
Yeah.
make you faster, okay? But bring your authenticity because that's where people are going to connect. That's where they're going to trust you, okay? Because again, we live in a crazy, noisy world, right? So
Yes.
it's our brand that
It is the
we're
brand.
building. And AI can help us do that as long as we understand how to use it, understand that it is a tool. Get in there, figure it out.
Yeah. So what would you say is as we wrap up today as one actionable insight for the audience today?
Okay.
And we did answer a question I did in my conversation, so I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm glad. I haven't seen the questions, so I'm glad that you're seeing them. But here's the big picture that I want our audience to take away today. AI is here to stay. It's going to continue to evolve. It's going to get faster. It's going to get better. And it's going to be even more integrated into all the things that we do. But our personality, our uniqueness, our
Mhm.
brand, our executive presence, we have to tell our stories to build that trust, to show our humanity, because that's our differentiator. And at the end of the day, it's not about being seen, it's about being remembered, not for how polished we are, but for how others feel about us, how they trust us.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
make it intentional. Your personal brand is how people will connect with you and trust you. And it's that it thing that we talked about earlier.
Yes. I love that. It sounds like from everything that you shared with us today, that personal brand is your trust signal.
It
And
is.
be intentional about it. And I'm going to add to this from an AI perspective that AI doesn't replace your brand again. It
Yeah.
amplifies, it builds you, it helps you to build wisely, I think. So we want to thank you guys so much for joining us on our launch podcast today. We
Thank
will
you.
be doing our schedule is every 2 weeks and once a quarter in person. So we'll have that. We won't do live sessions, but once a quarter, but the others will be done that way. We want your questions. Send them in to us, even if you can't make the podcast like the live sessions. Send your questions in to us, and we will make sure that we address them. So thank you again for joining us today on Two Doctors and a Twist.
Thank you so much.
If you found anything that
So
we
much
said
fun.
today of value, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And stay tuned for our next episode. And remember, your brand plus AI is what creates future-proof leadership. So thank you so much for joining us today for Two Doctors and a Twist.
Bye.
Welcome to Two Doctors and a Twist.